Have you ever been on a train that feels less like it's on tracks and more like it's just gliding? A journey that completely messes with your sense of distance and time? Well, today we're going to jump on board one of the most advanced rail networks on the entire planet, the Beijing-Shanghai Express.
So, let me ask you something. Imagine you have to travel 1,200 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's kind of like going from London all the way to Prague. How are you going to do it? A long, boring day of driving? Dealing with the whole airport chaos? Just keep that thought in your head for a second. Because this isn't just some random number. That 1,200 kilometers, it's the economic and cultural lifeblood connecting two of the world's most massive, dynamic cities, Beijing and Shanghai. A trip that not too long ago was a real, serious journey.
Now, what if I told you that you could shrink that entire trip down to just 4.5 hours? And that's not some sci-fi fantasy. It's what happens every single day on this railway. We're talking about an average speed that totally rewrites the map.
I mean, this technology basically turns a huge, long-distance trip into something that feels more like a commute. It's a 1,200-kilometer shuttle service. And our ride today is a front-row seat to an absolute masterpiece of modern engineering.
Okay, so let's actually get on board. We're going to experience this whole thing through the eyes of people who've actually ridden it. So grab your virtual ticket, find a seat, and let's get moving.
You know, the very first thing you notice isn't the sleek design or the futuristic station, it's the clock on the platform. Because this journey kicks off with something that feels almost old-fashioned: perfect, non-negotiable punctuality.
This quote from travelers really says it all. Not late, even by a minute. And look, that isn't just a goal they're hoping to hit. It's the standard. It's just how it works. Delays, they're practically a myth here.
And we're not just talking about our train either. The entire network is like a perfectly choreographed dance. We're talking hundreds of trains, all moving in perfect sync every single day. It's mind-boggling.
So the doors hiss shut and we just glide out of the station. No jerking, no clanking. Now for the main event, what does it actually feel like to be on the ground but moving at the speed of a small airplane?
And there it is. You watch the numbers on the display just climb and climb, and then they settle at a jaw-dropping 350 kilometers per hour. That's over 217 miles per hour. The world outside is just a complete blur, but inside, well, that's another story.
I mean, at this speed, you've got to be thinking the ride is just chaos, right? It should be rattling and noisy. You should feel like you're being shot out of a cannon. That's what logic tells us.
But get this, and it's almost hard to believe. The ride is so unbelievably smooth that you can put a full water bottle on your tray table and the water inside doesn't even ripple. It just sits there, perfectly still. Now that is precision.
And you know that obsession with precision? It doesn't stop with the engineering. It actually extends to the social vibe on the train itself. The experience inside the car is just as carefully managed as the train on the tracks.
To keep everything orderly, there are some very clear rules. Two in particular are a really big deal. Absolutely no smoking anywhere, and you have to have a valid ticket for the exact seat you're sitting in. They sound pretty standard, right? But the way they're enforced, that's where things get different.
So why such strict enforcement? Well, it's because these onboard rules are plugged directly into China's social credit system. Now, that's a huge, complex national system that basically keeps a running score on the behavior of people and companies.
So if you break a rule on this train, say you light up a cigarette, or you're in the wrong seat, the consequence isn't just a simple fine. That action can actually lead to a lower social credit score, which can then affect all sorts of other parts of your life. Your behavior on the train is tied directly into a national database.
And then, in what feels like no time at all, you look out the window and there it is, the famous Shanghai skyline. Our 1,200-kilometer trip is over. And as you step out onto the platform, you really start to think about what you just experienced. Because that wasn't just a simple trip from A to B, was it? It was a real-life look at a system where incredible technological power is completely intertwined with a really structured social order. You really can't separate the two. Which, of course, leaves us with one last massive question. This combination of incredible speed, perfect efficiency, and integrated social rules, are we looking at a blueprint for the future of mass transit? That's definitely something to think about.